Traces of horse meat have been found in beef product in at least 5 European countries. There's nothing unhealthy about eating horse meat in itself, but if your religion prohibits you from doing so, what protection should you have against it? Politicians here at the European Parliament are discussing the issue and becoming increasingly angry.
Well, the fact that people do not really know what they eat or what is into the food they buy is a scandal. People should know what they eat. And if you have a religious reason not to eat certain kinds of meat, you should be assured that you don't find it in the food you buy.
So what can the EU do about it?
Well, first of all, this is about fraud. It is about criminals changing labels, and this is pure fraud. So the member states who are responsible for controls should be more severe. And when they detect people who fraud, they should punish them. And then it is upon the European Union to make sure that the controllers, the member states, are controlled and that the national control authorities really do the work they have to do. And therefore we have the Food and Veterinary Office in Ireland who does around 300 inspections a year. I think we should strengthen that service in staff, in financial means, and we should do also something political with their results. If they give certain recommendations to member states to act, then in the national parliaments, but as well in the European Parliament, there should be a debate, there should be an investigation if the national authorities act accordingly.
Nikki Sinclair, what's your view about the horse meat scandal?
Well, I think this is an absolutely terrible scandal that came about. I think that the fact and the blame probably lies squarely with the European Union. I think as the cause has began with, obviously you have the single market, which has allowed goods to be transferred all across the European Union without any checks, because it's illegal under European law to make these checks. And this is very contradictory with the strict labelling laws that the EU are pursuing at the moment. So on one hand you've got the single market where there's supposed to be no restrictions, no checks whatsoever, and on the other hand it's for the shops to make sure that they label the products correctly. And I think there's a bit of a contradiction on that. What I feel very strongly about is the people of faith in my constituency of the West Midlands and the UK, the Jewish people, the Muslim people. In the case of the Jewish people, for example, it's kosher meat, and it's pork in the system, traces of DNA pork. I understand that horse meat is not kosher, and because of these rules not being, or people not being able to do the adequate checks on the meat products, Muslims and Jewish people are eating incorrect foodstuffs.
So what can the EU do about it?
Well, I think that they should empower more the member states to take control. I think in the UK we've actually seen that the department responsible have actually made people redundant in previous years. In fact, we need more controls on the food that we are eating. We need to make sure it's of sufficient quality. On a side thing, we have a problem with obesity. And yet the stuff that's going into our food products, I don't think it's been tested to a sufficient nature. So I would like to see far more controls on the food that we actually eat. And I think that the member states should take far more control about what it's feeding its citizens.
One of the most important things the European Union can do for its citizens is to ensure that when we buy food products, we know what it contains. This is Colin Stevens, for JN1, at the European Parliament in Brussels.